Hi, everybody. I'm David with Bolivar Live, and actually, we're going remote this morning. Jim Denny, which is head over the H2 Brew House Bolivar Rig Run, which is in, Jim, which year is it in?
This is our 7th year.
7th year. He's actually up in Michigan, but you can see he's got his Texas cowboy hat left over from the other weekend down here. Jim, thanks for joining us this morning. I know you're an hour ahead of us. Let's talk about the Bolivar Rig Run because it's grown to be a pretty good size event. Y'all are raising some more money this year so that all the boats can have two-way radios. And then you're donating. Tell me about August 14th and when it all kicks off and what it entails.
Well, like you said, this is our 7th year of the Bolivar Rig Run, and starting out from 4 boats, we're now up to over 33 boats. We've never had 33 boats registered this early before the actual the race. So we've got about 15 more days. So we expect that we maybe push close to 40 boats in the race.
Are they in different classes? Explain the classes, because there's something about Portsmouth or something. Portsmouth?
Right. So each boat is classified as to how large of a sail area and the hull size, and so everybody can race against one another on a competitive basis. So the boats with the more sail area will generally be able to go faster, but then they're going to be handicapped with a Portsmouth rating that is going to then give them a corrected time finish. So a fast boat finishing in 1 hour, its corrected time could actually say it finished in 2 hours. Okay. So
they make more or less, they adjust all the sail and the hulls to be the same.
Right. They make an attempt to go ahead and make it competitive for the largest, for all the boats competing, whether it be a 14-foot boat or a 20-foot boat. Generally, the smaller 14-foot boats would have a higher rating, which would then basically make them more competitive. If the skipper sails a good race in a small boat with a high rating, then he could actually win the race, even though he finished a half hour after the first boat hits the beach.
Yeah. And what's all this money raised for? I know you've always donated to something, to a nonprofit. And what's this year's money raised for?
Well, this year we're actually investing it in the race itself. So in the past, we've made donations to various charities, but this year we're going to go ahead and use the funds raised to make a fun event for everybody, but also for radios, because we've had incidents, and we expect incidents to occur every year. We need to be able to communicate with our sailors, and this year we're outfitting every sailor with a dry bag so that they can take their personal cell phone and put it in a dry bag, and they'll stay with them. And then each boat will also have a two-way radio on it. Okay.
And these are the radios that y'all are wanting to purchase, right?
Right. We've already purchased them. They can contact us, or they can go direct to the Coast Guard if they got an emergency. If it's just a boat, breakdown, we can kind of figure that out. They can get a hold of us, and our safety team can go ahead and coordinate any rescue effort, to grab sailors and boat. The Coast Guard does not. If they're involved, they're not going to rescue the boat or salvage the boat. They just salvage and save lives. But most of the time, if you have a breakdown out there, with the prevailing winds, the boat's generally going to float back to shore. As it happened a couple of years ago, that could take a couple hours, and these sailors, after being in the water for 15 minutes, are ready to get moving again.
Well, and I know, we've done some live feeds down, and we stream this every year. And I think last year we had 8,000 views or some ungodly views all over the United States for it. And we're going to do it again this year. But I know y'all take great, go to the extremes to make sure it's a safe race. If I'm not mistaken, you've canceled one time, didn't you? Because it was.
Yeah, years ago, one of the years, we scheduled a Labor Day, and it seems like on that Bolivar coast that those storms like to come in right about the 1st of September. So we pushed that event back to the end of September. And then I think we ended up trying to get ahead of the storms. And we found that this second weekend of August fits into not just the weather pattern, but also other sailing events throughout the Texas sailing circuit, if you will.
So they don't overlap. I know when I talked to you the other week, you were going to a sailing event, I think over by Texas City or somewhere. And so that way everyone can travel. What area of the beach, and actually when I was looking at it the other day, I had the drone up, actually probably right where you launch isn't the best spot for viewing. Do you think if they get away, like typically you have it around Jack Road and that, but even down by the washout or down by Biscayne, you can still see the sailboats and stuff, you get a larger view.
Right. The last year was a very difficult year because we had so much, we had 12 years of sand accumulation in the dunes, and it pushed out the dunes closer to the water. And we had very little room for a road and a trailer and a boat to be lined up. Whereas this year, after the storms washed away, in many cases, all of the dunes or 80% of them, we've got a lot more beach to work with. But, that area is a great area that we around that washout to set up. We probably will need probably 100 yards or a couple hundred yards of beach to set up 30, 40 boats. So we'll look at that.
Move down towards the washout more this year, or are you planning to be there in front of Blue Water where you typically launch?
That's really too tight over there. Too many people. That area by the washout, there's no homes behind it, so everybody's got to travel to set up their stuff there. So as the beach gets filled up, then so does that area. So in Blue Water, we've launched there before, but we could do that with 4 or 5 boats, but we can't do it with 30 boats anymore. So it's grown to we're running out of beach to set up. But I tell you, to answer your other question, that's where the boats launch. Okay, we've got the 2 courses. We've got the stretch or wreck course that goes all the way down the beach from wherever we launch towards the jetty, the North Jetty, and there's a wreck off the Retillion Road.
About 500
yards. They go around that wreck. If anybody is set up from where we start all the way over to, say, Biscayne, they're getting a great view. Yeah. I think the best seat in the house possibly last year could have been sitting over there off of Retillion Road, watching the boats fly into the wreck, okay, and try to make that turn towards the rig. The gentleman that we had set up over there, a safety person that saw that, he came back so excited he couldn't believe it. When they rounded that wreck, it was really exciting for him. So they could watch the boats round the wreck and then go to the rig and then come back. So that's the best viewing area. But the farther you get away from the actual start of the event, you can actually see the boats, offshore and how they're lining up, who's in first and who's in second, so forth, and same as they're returning to the beach. So you can see a little bit more because you're limited. Just looking offshore, you're limited to what you can see. You see boats, but you can't really see what they're doing so much.
Right. Well, all the fun takes place August 14th, which is a little over a week away. And so what time should people start getting down there? What time do the boats start getting down there? What time does the race start?
So everybody, you'll have the doorbusters, if you will, get there at maybe 10 o'clock or so, and they just slowly get their boats put together and maybe change out some rigging or what have you. And then by 11:30, they're moving them to the start, which is like in the water. It's a water start. Okay, when you see the flags in the water on either end, okay, there'll be 2 markers, an American flag and a Texas flag, and all the boats will line up in between. We'll have 2 starts. The first start will be the wreck start for the wreck, rig, and back. And then the second start about 10 minutes later will be the rig start. Okay. So they'll line up in the water, the boats will be floating, and then we'll do the traditional countdown 10, 9, 8, 7. And that's the best part of the whole event is to have the crowd. You might have 1,000 people on the beach chanting that out, and then the sailors, make no mistake about it, they hear the countdown to 0, go, and they all jump on their boats and go. It's a lot of fun. Yep.
And right now we don't have a whole lot of wind down here, so I don't know what that's going to do to the race. In fact, yesterday I've got a picture of a seagull with about a 10-count shrimp choking on it, spitting it up and eating it again. And the water was slick yesterday. And I was sitting there. I did a bunch of video of the shrimp boats and fishermen. And I was thinking, man, if that race was today, it may be a long race because there really isn't that much wind. And the little wind we had in the morning was actually northwest. And so it could have been, and I know last year you had quite a bit of wind. And so anyway, Jim, thanks for joining us. I know you're up north, and we're going to get with you when you get back down here. When will you be back down here?
I should be there next Wednesday. I hope to be back on Bolivar on Wednesday night.
Yeah, we'll get with you then and go down and get some more starting line views and get some more information out. You'll have an update on everything. And how can people find out some information on this if they want to enter?
Yeah, just go online to Facebook, Bolivar Yacht Club on the Facebook page, the Bolivar Yacht Club page. Make a comment, or my number's on it. My phone number's on it. They can give me a call, 281-541-0114. Have them give me a call. That'd be the best way to handle it.
And we've got some of that information on the event calendar. I know either your phone number or your email address. Well, Jim, thanks for joining us this morning. Once again, this is for the seventh, right?
7th annual, yes.
Annual H2 Brew House Bolivar Rig Run. Jim's put on a great event for the last 7 years, and look for another great event. Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless. And Jim, have a safe trip back to Texas.
Thank you. All right.
Bye-bye.